Okay. Hey everybody, it's Narrative Tarot. This is Jupiter's 20 May June 2021 video. Now, comment, like, subscribe. I do planet readings per month, not zodiac readings. So those are the monthlies, so to speak. And then I do other videos and readings and things like that. So if you are interested, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. That way, like, you'll be alerted. Make sure you check that you do it periodically. People get bumped off for some reason. I don't know. YouTube, they're weird. Anyway, now I started recording this video for you guys with what the hell is it called? For Jupiter, June 2021. This is my Jupiter deck. This is one of my Jupiter decks, which is the Fountain Tarot. I really like it. I think it exudes what Jupiter is about. Anyway, so I got the Devil card, and I was saying that for the Devil card, like your desires and things like that maybe come to the surface. It would be a good time to scry. It would be a good time to scry like with water, and then scry with like shiny surfaces, maybe even mirrors and things like that. The mirrors part I'm just thinking about now. And that your desires are coming back up to either be reevaluated or challenged or something like that. There's something about this. And then I was saying that that Mercury retrograde will probably be flavoring all of the planets. Things like that. So with the Devil, just reevaluate your life, your space, what you think, why you think it. Really harsh realities are coming up. Illusions about transcending and what you transcended may be coming up. So an example was, oh, I'm flying, and then it turns out you're not flying. It's a simulation or some shit like that. Like, it's just a dream or something. There's something in the environment that's very subtle energy, but it'll let you know if you're on the right track or not, if you're deluding yourself or not. And it's something that maybe feels uncomfortable. So the more uncomfortable you feel in your space, the more that you probably aren't on the right track. I think the more lighthearted you feel about it, the less that you're pushing, the less that you're trying to transcend something. I think if you're trying to transcend things, this may not be the month for that. Mercury retrograde does seem like it's one of those things that the transcendence will come through, I guess, more the acceptance of that you can't transcend it. Either you can't transcend it at this time, you can't transcend it in this lifetime, you can't transcend it without the help of someone else. And for the people who, like, they may not be able to transcend something in this lifetime, either the energy isn't there or something like that. Just be aware of saying fuck it and then being totally destructive, or turning your energy to less of long-term thinking. I think long-term thinking will do you well. I think, there's some people who may have the trajectory of lifetimes where they will stop through one lifetime and pick up at a later date and things like that. And their next lifetime is filled with trying to find where they left off, but particularly maybe the materiality. So like if you feel like you are if your last life you were Leonardo da Vinci, you would have a preoccupation with Leonardo da Vinci, and you would try to link you would try to enter a state of the mind of that person at that time, but you're trying to filter through all of the circumstances regarding their lifetime through this one to transmute that energy, but then pick up the genius that was left off, like in that lifetime. So, for some of you guys, you may be very, I was going to say significant. You would be very, not weary, that's not the word, intrigued of success with a particular figure in time, and that may be an indicator of the time period that you were in, or one that you have things to link to now, and it's some of your life work. I'm gonna try and do a video of Pluto in Pisces, because I feel like that, particularly for my generation, is when we're going to be wrapping up our life's work and getting ready to leave up out of here. And so, like, it's quite important to us. Let's do another card. So, making sure that with the Devil, I don't really feel like it's things that are toxic. I just think they're things that are linked together, like you're linked to your previous life. You can be linked to things like like vices and stuff like that. But I don't see it as like so horrible. You have the Nine of Cups. So it's linked to things that make you really happy. So, not that you're struggling to find happiness. That's not what it is. But I feel like the Devil, like I said, is more of like linking things together. So it was something that made you happy. It was some time period that made you happy. Now, with Jupiter, it may not be like past lives and things like that, but it probably is. It could be a previous iteration of self, and you're linking that now. Maybe there was like there was a trying to figure out how these things were linked, how your old you was linked to your new you or your current you, and how to move forward like that. Like, and this is something that I've struggled with, you want your realities to all be blending, and that is a seamless transition from one to the other. But when you're dealing with like this double energy, sometimes it feels like there's a definite stop and start, and so the transitions feel really stark. It feels like it gets more intense, or you lose everything, or it's just something where like you have to note like the changes from one state of consciousness or one state of existing to another, as opposed to kind of like you're living in your house and you're not, it's like living in a house and not speaking about the things that notice. It's just like you're picking up tables and you go outside and you put it for sale and someone buys it, and you bring the new stuff that you want into the house, and everybody's just sitting down and everybody notices these changes, but it doesn't have to be so spoken. It doesn't have to be so acknowledged. Like, I feel like some of you guys just don't want your changes to have to be always so acknowledged. You just want to wake up and things flow seamlessly through, as opposed to like having this idea of changes being so stark and noticeable. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So changes, you want changes to be less noticeable, as far as your emotional state, I think. Yeah. For me, I know I gotta change when everything just gets tore up and shit like that. But for some people, I think you may really struggle with transition periods and how your state before transitions to your state during. It's like point A to point B, and the transition states between all of that is kind of hard for you to deal with. Okay, let's go to the somatic. We're going to use this sacred geometry and sacred geometry and this good tarot by Colette Baron-Reid. Somatics. We have the star, boop, and we have starry dreams. Interesting. Okay, so you guys might want to look at constellations. You might want to look at things like that. If you're interested for somatically, obviously for me, crown would probably come up. Your spine for some reason. You might want to look up constellations that resemble spines or resemble like the human head in a spine or something like that. Like that might be something that you have to explore. Stars in general, so it doesn't matter if it's a 5-pointed star or 10-pointed star or whatever pointed star. Ishtar maybe might be related to this. But I think it's definitely your crown illumination. I would say make sure you're staying grounded. There is an illumination about things, and so like a light bulb shining light on all of the surroundings. You're going to find how illuminated you are about your transitions, how illuminated you are about your life moving forward, stuff like that. I do feel like you just want to pay attention. You might want to pay attention to moon phases as well, but particularly constellations. There might be a constellation that you're very drawn to at this time, or that makes itself apparent or known in your life, like a news feed about a constellation comes up or something like that. So think about that. As far as somatically outside of that, so I would say pay attention to like maybe like headaches and things like that. Feeling really light, feeling really buzzy. Your feet, your hands, feeling like electricity and things like that. Maybe working with certain crystals. Blue might be something that can help bring you down. So you might want to go to sleep with blue. Pisces, Jupiter is in Pisces. That may help you. Neptune is in Pisces still. So if you're looking at the astrological wheel, then Pisces in the 12th house has Jupiter and Neptune in it. And so I would say pay attention to dreams where you're submerged in water, or you're in situations where you have to escape, or you're in situations where you're trying to get away. You're in situations where you're trying to swim. You're in situations where you're in the night sky, you're flying. Something about breathing as well, not being able to breathe or letting out a big sigh of relief. I'm working through an allergic reaction to an antibiotic, so it's kind of taking a lot out of me. So, but that's me. But just make sure that you're doing that. Making sure that if you notice those things, record them if you can. Now, some people, y'all not going to be able to remember this. It's a blip. You're not going to be able to remember. Sorry. But for what you don't remember as far as like your dream, you'll remember and how like you feel like there's certain stages of your sleep that may be like, this is very technical. It seems like you need to have like these people like evaluating you while you're doing this, while you're like sleeping and shit. But for you, you might need to keep a journal. You might need to keep a mood journal, how you're feeling, how your mood is, watching what you eat before you go to sleep, watching, paying attention to what you're watching on TV, paying attention to what you're reading or consuming before you go to sleep, things like that. Because I think your crown is very receptive and it carries over into your dreams. So the transcendent nature of Jupiter in Pisces really is reflected in these, and the fact that it's the 12th house. And pay attention to dreams where you're trying to transcend something in an environment where you may not realistically be able to transcend it, like being able to fly in water. Like that isn't real. Being able to swim in water is one thing, but being able to fly in water is like not really a possibility. Being able to drink mercury, like really weird things that test your physical result. I feel like your physical limitations is like in this, but it's like, just pay attention to that. Just pay attention to really unrealistic kind of like physical things happening and mental things. And this is where the past lives things comes up and stuff like that. Now you may be approaching something, some sort of vortex or energetic click point to where you realize the limitations of your previous life or a previous situation and you move forward. But the thing about that is with Jupiter being there, don't make something so grandiose that, oh, I'm going to do this and this on top of that. Like, I'm going to transcend all of this. Make sure that you're kind of tempering what you can do, because, like, if you don't, like, that's going to be a problem for you. So, yeah. Focus on constellations. Focus on your crown chakra. Focus on your sleep cycles, your emotional cycles, your brain chemicals. It's just, I feel like for Jupiter, it's like, it's not precarious, but it's just a time to like pay attention. Like, it just seems like something with like Pisces, forgetfulness of something like leads to like an accidental like OD or something. Like it just, there's a little bit of danger in there. And particularly with the double too, like there's some sort of like linkage between like unfinished business, so to speak. And it's something that was really interesting and intriguing and moving forward, but there was just some circumstance that seemed to come up that stopped you. So just pay attention to that. Just pay attention to cycles. I guess I'm making it like more worrisome like for you, but it just seems like there's something lurking there that you have to find. But when you find it, your response to it shouldn't be to overcompensate, is what I'm getting at. Just to kind of accept and acknowledge and then work on reasonable ways that you overcome something. Like, that's what it seems like. Alright. Thank you for watching Jupiter June 2021. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye.